Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Seahawk Talk here on the Salve Athletics Network. I am your host, Andrew Pizzelli. We're coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope through Twitter. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to us on all of those platforms to never miss a show. We've got a great one for you lined up here today. We'll be joined by Nick Albanese, Kelsey Borman, Bill Villarreal, Samantha Curcio, Sophia Dukakis, Grace Gilmore, and Olivia McHugh. Can't wait to get to them and our producers. But first, like always, we remind you to keep your distance.
Better keep your distance. Better keep your vanity. Better keep your distance. Better keep your vanity. Better keep your distance. Better keep your vanity. Better keep your distance. Better keep your vanity.
That is Ed Habershaw with his rendition of Keep Your Distance by The Shake, a Rhode Island-based band with a worldwide message that we're going to continue to remind everybody to social distance, hand wash, mask wearing. We've heard all about it, and we're going to continue to remind everyone to do those simple and easy things here on the program each and every day. Want to bring in the producers now, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, to help lead us off here on a Tuesday. Fellas, how are we doing?
Doing well today.
Yeah, doing good.
What do we have to start off today's program?
I got a couple stories, so I'll let Joey, if you want to jump in first, and then make sure they don't overlap at all.
Sure, I don't think you have the same. Well, the story I've decided to talk about later because there's been breaking news, and we were just talking about movies, so I feel like this is appropriate. The National Film Registry just added a bunch of new films to the registry, and they have Blues Brothers, Dark Knight, Grease, and Shrek.
There, you
They
got me
added
at Shrek now.
to the National Film Registry for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
Now,
And
this is
if that
just-
doesn't sum up 2020,
Just the first one, right? We
Yes,
didn't
just the
pull in
first
the
one.
whole
Yeah, just for-
Shrek
yeah.
family
no,
of films?
just like it's only the Dark Knight and not the other Batmans, even though the other ones are also good.
Batman Begins is on par. Dark Knight's fantastic. Batman Begins is good. You know,
Yeah.
the third one's okay.
The third way, it's got Bane.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had Blues Brothers, Grease, I'm sure some other things, but people are very excited in the comments. It was big news, I guess. I don't know, like, I want to look now, like, how many other, kind of, like, goofy, like, is Shrek the first, like, completely wacky movie to have gotten in there? Probably not.
Probably
I'm sure
not.
There's tons of other ones, but, like, it's
What's the criteria there for that?
It says
You know,
culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant, and I assume it's culturally
that is a very
significant.
broad definition, which can mean a lot of things. So
Yeah.
I'd imagine there's plenty of movies that you wouldn't think, oh, this needs to be preserved forever. There's probably quite a few.
Yeah, that's the other thing I didn't even think of. Like, they're preserving it forever. Like, it goes into some kind of vault. Like, when humanity dies out and, like, aliens are exploring the Earth and they find this vault, Shrek is going to be in there.
Actually, if that's happening, the collapse of the planets, they actually launch all of these films into space, into interstellar space, so that a civilization someday discovers them. Yeah.
Yeah, if they find Shrek, then just you're welcome, aliens, because that is just a piece of cinema history.
Yes, like,
Cool.
iconic. I feel like I should change. I'm supposed to do a piece of presentations for my final in film. I was going to do kaiju movies. Maybe I should talk about Shrek instead.
It's a historically significant film.
It is now Hurt Locker, too.
All right. Mike, what do you have for us?
So I got a couple things here. Some good news. So as we know, we've been in a pause here in Rhode Island, and that pause at least appears to be working as the numbers for coronavirus have slightly improved here in Rhode Island. You see there are new hospitalizations, cases per 100,000 people, and the overall percent positive rate all declined over the last week. So good news, because hopefully we can break through this pause soon and get through these numbers. And now that I've given you the good news, here's some of the bad news, and that is that winter Yeah, winter is most definitely coming,
Oh, God,
and
yeah.
in the form of an 8 to 12 foot snowstorm, or
Nice,
inch
man.
snowstorm, as I discussed
8 to
yesterday.
12 is
8 to 12
whoa.
feet.
That's that's like okay, that's like ice age.
Spoken like a true
No.
weatherman.
It's like, yeah, everyone board up your windows. Maybe not go that far, but we are in a Newport weather alert here in Newport, and you can read it right here. So until 1 p.m. on Thursday, December 17th, be sure to stay safe, and there will definitely be, at least we're hoping for heavy snow. I think we're all okay with one of these per year, but I think any more than this, people might start getting a little sick.
You get
of it,
one.
So. Yeah, you get one good test.
Where are we going? We're already stuck at home. It already feels like it's a snow day, but it looks nice outside. Might as well just full in. Snow day every day. Why not? For this is the
that's
year.
true. Then it wouldn't make you feel like anything's different. That's true. Then you just be inside and be like, oh, that's because it's snowing, not because there's cold. Exactly. And that would keep people inside, drive COVID numbers down. I think this could actually, you know what? You're right.
It felt like snow days in the spring. Can't go anywhere. We're just gonna watch Netflix all day. I'm gonna gain 15 pounds in a week. It's 2020, the snow day year.
Exactly.
That's well, Mike. You had good news, bad news. Do you have some good news to finish with, or are we saving that for the end?
To complete my sandwich, I think we'll put the top layer of bread on at the end of the show. Or Joey,
a little bit of layer. So I'm looking at the National Film Registry. Other things this year were Hurt Locker and Clockwork Orange, and I'm just scrolling through. There's a lot of movies in there, as you'd expect, and ridiculous ones I found so far you wouldn't expect. Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Clerks, both in there. And a lot of Disney movies like Lion King, Sleeping Beauty, Finding Nemo, those are all in there. Those I expect to see in there.
I'm kind of surprised. Yeah. You're saying Clockwork Orange just got put in?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's surprising.
That is surprising, especially because of I just scrolled past Groundhog Day. Clockwork Orange. I don't know. Yeah, people have been talking about how that's like one of the best movies ever. So I am also surprised.
Yeah,
Groundhog Day
to watch, but I would argue historically significant. Most of the things Stanley Kubrick did probably fall into their definitions of movies that need to be preserved forever.
Yeah.
So Groundhog's Day is culturally significant, but is it, like we were saying, a Christmas movie?
Oh, is it a Christmas movie? That's a debate for later.
Now we'll have to,
It hits the themes of a Christmas movie, but it doesn't take place during Christmas, as one would expect from the name.
Awesome. I didn't really have anything particular to share. I just wanted to continue to point out that U.S. hospitals and nursing homes and places, healthcare facilities are starting to receive the COVID vaccine today, tomorrow, moving forward. I know we had January initially was like when we used that graphic only about a week ago was kind of the benchmark there where we expected that to be happening, but it's happening now. So I'd say that's more good news to put on top of the good news pile here at the beginning of the day. So the vaccine's here. I know Moderna, their final round of testing show that they're 94% effective against COVID-19, which just to kind of give perspective, we see that number like, oh my God, don't you want it to be 100? The flu shot, which I got yesterday, only around 50% effective against the flu because there's so many more strains of the flu. You never know what you're going to get. When you're trying to just target one specific disease, like what they are with COVID-19, 94% is pretty good. So that's just another option that's going to be coming out and be on the table, hopefully more widespread, sooner and faster. And also, I saw the FDA approved today take-home, over-the-counter COVID tests. So a test you can do at home, which if that is true, if those are proven to be very effective, back in the spring and summer, like the rapid tests were like 50-50. A take-home test is up to snuff. That'll do a lot. That will do a lot.
Not bad, yeah.
Wrap that all into athletics. That will eventually benefit us. One way, it all will benefit us. Yeah. One way or another. So
I'm not a fan of shots, but I'll take one for this. So definitely.
So, all right, fellas. I can tell Joey's interested. He's scouring more.
You can see it. Yeah, no,
I can see it in your eyes. So, Detective Morelli, I'm going to let you get to work.
For any fun one. Oh, see if there's any sports movies.
Yes.
I saw League of Their Own.
Right, yeah, we'll get some
big time tease. Are there sports movies preserved in the National Film Registry here? So I'll let you work on that. Mike, I'll let you help produce the show behind the scenes, and we'll talk to both of you later on in the program. All right, that's Joey Morelli, and Mike DeFusco, the producers here on Seahawk Talk. We're going to go next to our first guest here today, the Assistant Director of Admissions and a Sal Regina alum, Nicholas Albanese. Nick, welcome to the program. How are you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me today. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Let's start with your Salve time. You are a graduated in 2012. You're
Yes.
also an athlete. Talk about just what you remember, what stands out to you most about your time at Salve as an athlete, and then how you got into your role with admissions.
Sure. Well, I think I must have looked at 20 or 30 different colleges when I was checking out places to enroll. But Salve just felt like a home. It's such a unique place. Walking on campus, just feeling so comfortable and supported by everyone that I interacted with. I was not much of an athlete before coming to Salve. I played a little tennis in high school, and I ended up interning in the admissions office. And I was working for Pam Haru, who I believe you had as a guest a little while ago in the past. And Pam used to coach cross country, and she said, if you can run 5 miles 3 times a week, you can probably join the team. And I was pretty involved in a bunch of different clubs in my first year, but nothing really stuck. And I really felt like I was kind of missing something, and I wanted to be more involved and to do something. So I thought, well, maybe running. I never really ran before, but I thought, I'd just give it a shot. So I was practicing over the summer. I remember the first time I left Miley cafeteria at night because I was too embarrassed to run during the day. And I ran to Fort Adams, and I had to walk a bunch of times. And, I got back and I was so out of breath, and it was so tough, but I kept trying and building up. And finally by, maybe June, July, I got to the point where I could run to Fort Adams back and forth, and not have to stop. And so finally I said, okay, I'll reach out to the coach of the cross country team. At the time, it was Coach Bender, and he said, "Sure, feel free to you can join. Here's the workout for the rest of the summer." I joined the team. I was one of the slowest runners. I looking at some of the times of the guys now, and I'm just blown away. They're phenomenal. Some of the how fast they're able to run. And some running in sub 6 minutes, miles. I was more of like a 7.5 minute mile kind of runner. But that's the cool thing about cross country. Everyone gets to participate. Even if you're not one of the runners that scores, you still get to run the race. And you just make incredible friends and have that camaraderie with everyone. And I'm still friends with many of those guys today. So it was a huge part of my Salve experience, and I love being a runner. And I also had Coach Rob, who I know you've had on the show in the past too. He was one of the assistant coaches at the time, and he's such a nice guy, and just amazing to see what he's done with the team over the years.
Yeah. Now you are working for the admissions right now. You're in Seattle, right?
I am, yeah. So I'm regionally based, and I work with many of our students from the Western U.S. Our admissions office has tried to have some forethought. There's going to be major shifts in who goes to college in the next 7 to 8 years. The number of college-going students in New England is going to really drop off, but those numbers are staying steady or even rising in other parts of the U.S. like Texas and the West Coast. So we're really making a big effort in the admissions office to recruit nationally, and to really make sure that Salve is one of those colleges that's kind of known nationwide as a great liberal arts D3 option.
Yeah. Now, did you have a role within the admissions department before you even graduated?
I did, yeah. So I interned. I was a tour guide. And then I was a summer tour guide. So I stayed every summer in Newport, which is, an incredible experience. Very different in the summer than during the school year in Newport. And I interned in the admissions office. So I was, learning how to read applications, and I'm actually going to work every day before my classmates graduated in senior year. And then I was on campus until 2015. So I lived in Providence, and I would commute every day. And then in 2015, I moved out to Seattle, and I've been out here ever since.
Awesome. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think today was a big day for early decision students, correct?
Yes, so I'm happy to say that this is our first year having early decision. So the difference between early decision and some other admit plans like early action or regular decision is that it is binding. So when students decide to apply early decision to Salve, they're really signing a contract between themselves, their counselors, their parents to say if they're admitted, they're going to enroll. Normally, students can wait until May 1 to make their final decision if they apply under other decision plans. But really, with early decision, you're committing to Salve early on. So, we've already had 20 students commit to Salve that are athletes. And overall, we've had I think over 300 applicants that have been tiered by the coaches. So really recruited by the coaches this year. The coaching staff has done a phenomenal job. With the depth and the breadth of how they've recruited. We also introduced a new program this year, or I should say, we've continued a program that's been going for the last few years where we offer conditional acceptances to high school students. So even if you're in your junior year, you can actually, if you're recruited by the coach, you can sort of get a provisional acceptance to Salve. So we had over 100 students go through that process this year, and I helped manage that process with the coaches. So the coaching staff has just done such a great job helping to build our class even during a pandemic, and I'm really impressed by them.
Yeah, I was going to ask for what you're doing specifically. How much has the pandemic affected what you would normally be doing, in affecting that application process? And has it, in a way, benefited you in any sort of way? Will there be practices or tools that you've gained now that will be beneficial to you, for years to come?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I'm in a bit of a unique position because I am on the West Coast, and so I'm kind of used to working with students that have some additional challenges for enrolling. Many of the students that I work with maybe can't even get to campus very easily. Like I work with students who've enrolled from Hawaii, and one of them actually enrolled sight unseen. They had never been to Salve. The first time they came to Salve was the day they moved in. I've always tried to work to find ways to kind of show off the campus and explain our vibe. Some of that is traveling to the area, but I'm only one to three people that actually recruit on the West Coast, and so we can't go everywhere. So this year's been really nice because everything went virtual. It's all Zoom calls, and as an office, we were able to have synchronous live calls with students in over 38 states. And I think we've really actually increased some of the applications and the interest from a lot of these states outside of the Northeast region. So it's actually been very productive for us as an office.
Do you have any tips or anything, any message to some of the prospective students or prospective student athletes who may be not yet done with their process, working through things over winter break? Anything you'd want to say or offer help or guidance to them?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 2 more deadlines coming up. So we have a deadline on January 5th. That's early action 2. We've actually extended our nursing deadline to January 5. So any prospective students that are listening to this, it's not too late to apply. We also have regular decision on February 1. But the nice thing about our process, being a small admissions office, is we encourage students to get that application submitted by the deadline. But those additional documents that we require, things like the high school transcript, if students want to submit test scores, because we're fully test optional, but if students want to submit test scores, all of those things, we can get that in later. We just want to make sure that students try to apply by the deadline so we can work with them to complete those documents. And that's also part of my second tip, which is to try to give your letters of recommendation letter time to write your letter. So, if you're going to reach out to them, please try to give them at least a few weeks notice. And I know with the break coming up, that might not be as easy for some students. So again, you're encouraged to apply by the deadline, but if you don't have those other documents ready, we'll work with you to get those in. I see that you have a graphic pulled up too, and I just wanted to briefly also show you this. So these blue dots represent high schools, all around the country, over 950 high schools that we have worked with this year. So these are all places our admissions office have done live visits with counselors and students. And all of these, I tried to find the closest thing to a Seahawk I could find. So these green dots are where we have our recruited athletes. So you can see it's mostly the Northeast, but we do have athletes from Washington State, California, Colorado, Arizona, in Illinois, and Ohio, Pennsylvania.
We've hit all the time zones.
Yes. So we're all over the time zones. We'd love to get more. We think we're a great option for out-of-state students, especially because some of these states don't even have Division III, like Arizona. And we do give fee waivers to out-of-state students. We've recently introduced a flight reimbursement program for admitted students from out of state. We're going to offer virtual class visits this year so students can actually sit in on a class. So we're doing a lot of things to try to encourage students to check us out, give us a chance, see if it's a good fit for them, and to make that happen. So we're always happy in the admissions office to work with students and to make sure those connections are happening.
Awesome. Nick, you must have a lot of pride in Salve, right? I mean, you went here, had a great time. You've worked in the admissions department now since graduation. How much pride do you have in representing Salve Regina?
Oh, huge pride. There's so many reasons. For one, I mean, I think if you ask anyone, what's one word that describes this place? They usually don't say Newport or mansions. They'll say community. So I think Salve's always had that. But I'm really impressed, having been involved with the university since enrolling there in 2008 and working there, then also representing them out of region, just to see how much they've grown and kept true to the mission. But I think every year we just continue to be a more diverse, inclusive kind of community. We work really hard to do those things in enrollment management and to make sure that we have a really well-balanced class. And just also looking at the support from our alumni, how we were able to raise funds this year, for example, for the Emergency Relief Fund to kind of get students over that edge to be able to enroll. Just so many things like that. I'm always impressed by what a fantastic community we have at Salve Regina. And I think we all really live to that mission of making a world that's a little more just, harmonious, and merciful. And I think we really need that in today's day and age.
Awesome. Last question, Nick. We had a movie discussion at the beginning of the show with our producers, and we plan to have a broader Christmas movie discussion throughout the weekend and next week leading up to Christmas. So I'll ask you, do you have a favorite Christmas movie?
So this might be controversial, I don't know, but I'm definitely one of those people that thinks Die Hard is a Christmas movie. So I'm all for it. All the Die Hards. Come on, Die Hard 2, that literally is in an airport, right? or 3. I think 3 is the airport in Christmas time. So that, and I also had a tradition with my dad, another kind of a weird Christmas movie, but Christmas Eve, we would always watch The Haunting of Hill House. So the old black and white movie. So to me, that's Christmas. I don't know, but
that sets the tone. Well, I agree with you. I have the Die Hard Christmas book.
Oh, fantastic.
So yeah, I'm full in the camp. I mean, we already know. I think me and the producers plan to discuss our top 5 Christmas movies next week and release those. Everybody already knows. It's no secret. Die Hard's going to be on my list. So I'm glad I got another person on my side. So Nick, really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you for coming on today to talk about admissions things and your time at Salve. Appreciate that. Hope you stay well through the holiday season, and maybe we can catch up with you again sometime soon.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been great. Take care, and thanks again. Happy holidays.
Awesome. That's an assistant director of admissions, Nick Albanese, here at Salve Regina. We're going to go next to an assistant coach for our softball program, Kelsey Borman, also an alumnus. Kelsey, how are we?
Good. How are you?
Good. A lot of conversation about recruiting for all the coaches and teams. You're an assistant coach now. How much have you been in on and participating in that recruitment process?
Yeah, so I think I am kind of on the back end of that. I actually just passed my boards for my master's degree, so that's kind of been my focus for the last couple of months. But I mean, Janelle and Holly keep me in the loop, so I'd say a decent amount.
Yeah. Do you feel, you graduated in 2017, do you feel more coach than former player yet. How is that transition going for you?
I think now I do, yeah. I mean, I feel like I'll always feel like I was a player at Salve. Like even when I'm there, I want to be pitching with them. Um, but I feel like I'm more of a coach now. I mean, in the beginning, like 2017, 2018, it was kind of hard to distinguish being a coach because I still was kind of friendly with some of the players because I played with them. But now I think it's more coach focused.
Yeah. How would you assess how the fall went with, having to work around the restrictions and actually, but being able to get out there and work with the team? How would you say things went?
Yeah, I think it went really well actually for having to deal with the COVID restrictions and everything. I mean, no one really wants to wear a mask while they're playing, but I think the girls did really well with adhering to all the precautions. And I mean, right before everything got a little more hectic, we got to play like an inter squad scrimmage type thing where it was based off of points and we like live videoed it and it was really cool. So I think that was a really good ending to what the whole fall was about.
Yeah. How much do you think the team was able to work on building that camaraderie and chemistry and that sort of thing? Because obviously, without the games to kind of focus on, teams are focused more on the personal development and the development of those relationships and things. How do you feel the team was able to attack those sorts of things?
I think they did a good job. I mean, I don't know how I would have handled that if I was a player, honestly, being like in your pods and all that stuff. But I think they did a really good job trying to do different online things and like their group chats and being with their pods and things like that. And I think now, even like at the end, when you didn't have to stay in your pod as much, they did a really good job doing that too.
Yeah. What is the team's plans for the winter? Everybody, for the most part, is probably, if not already, they're planning to go home soon and then return sometime in January. How will the team, what will they be doing during that time? Because obviously you don't want them just sitting around.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be hard too because COVID's kind of ramping up right now. But I've seen some people posting that they're at the batting cages or they're pitching. So I think the girls do a really good job of keeping their skills up over the winter because it can be hard as a player sometimes because you work so hard in the fall and you're like, finally a break, like no school, no softball. But if you don't come back in the winter, normally when it's like a season, and you kind of like fall behind. At least as a pitcher, it can be kind of difficult, like taking a whole month off and then coming in and going into workouts and pitching 3 to 4 times a week and things like that. So I think they'll do a pretty good job. I've already seen some people working hard.
Yeah, for spring sports, there would normally be this gap of practice and competitions and things. What would you do in your day? What were the things that you would do during that time to stay sharp, to stay fresh, even just at home things if you didn't have a cage or, obviously the weather can prohibit you
Yeah.
sometimes as well. What were the things you would do to try and, as you said, stay fresh?
Well, I went to the gym a lot and I focused a lot on my arms and my legs, but I tried to get a pitching lesson in with my pitching coach at least twice a week, just to stay up on my game and focus on things that I felt like I really didn't do well in the fall. I'm kind of like a perfectionist in that aspect that if I didn't like something, I really wanted to fix it. So I'd say a lot of pitching lessons over the winter.
Awesome. We were also talking with Nick Albanese about admissions and kind of along the same recruitment things. What do you remember from your recruitment process and your decision to come to Salve?
Yeah. Oh, well, my freshman year, we got a new coach. So the coach that I had been talking to didn't recruit me. I mean, the coach that we did get, we didn't recruit me. She had left. So that was like a really big, scary factor to coming in as a freshman and not really knowing anything. And will this coach want to keep me? Like, nothing was obviously guaranteed anyway, but it's just another added factor to stress because as a freshman, like you're already stressed out enough. And I was a really big homebody, so that was a really big adjustment for me too. Even though I don't live very far, but it's just the whole principle of like going to school after going from high school.
Yeah. What made you decide Salve at the time?
Yeah. Well, I really liked the campus, to be honest. I like loved Newport when I went down there. I liked the people that I had met, so I felt like it was a really good community. Sometimes you go onto different campuses and you can just get a little bit of a feel, especially when you do as an athlete and you do overnights, you can kind of get a feel of the sense of the team and how people interact and things like that. So I think that really was a deciding factor for me, from going to overnights and seeing how the team really interacts in the campus.
We're going to ask all of our guests the same question today. We've been having the movie discussion. Do you have a favorite Christmas movie or movies?
I really like the Christmas Carol. I'm not really like a big elf person. I don't really find that like a good Christmas movie. I know a lot of my friends hate when I say that, but
Is it Will Ferrell? Does he annoy you?
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I loved Elf when it first came out, and then kind of like the more, it's one of those like, I feel like I can't watch it every Christmas, and there's people who want
Yeah.
to watch it over and over. Like when you're a kid, you do that. You're 5, the movie ends, and you're like again, and your parents are probably going, "Oh no." I feel like I can't see Elf more than like once every couple of years. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's the
you
same thing.
you got my support on that one.
It's a classic. How can you not like it?
Yeah, so awesome, Kelsey. Good to see you. Glad
You
you're
too.
doing well. Thank you for taking the time, and hope you have a happy holiday as well.
Yes. Happy holidays. Nice seeing you.
All right, that's Kelsey Borman, assistant coach with our softball team. We're going to go next to the head coach of our women's lacrosse team, Bill Villarreal. Bill, how we doing?
Hey, Andrew, what's going on? How are you?
You all ready for this storm coming tomorrow, Bill? You got your bread, you got your milk, firewood chop.
Oh yeah, all that is. Thankfully enough, I had a delivery of firewood, so now when I go home after this discussion, I'll be stacking some wood for sure.
I feel like you're probably like me. When you see a big storm coming, you get a little bit excited. Like, all right, yes.
Oh yeah, I'm already set. I already got my stuff because I wanted to beat the rush anyway because I know they're gonna freak out when they hear snow. So I already went ahead, did the gas, did the food, did the items. I'm all set.
Nice. I figured you'd be prepared. You're a man of action. Everybody now is transitioning to virtual type stuff with their teams, the Zoom calls, all of that. I'm sure you're pretty used to it by now. Do you feel like you're a Zoom call expert now?
I'd never say I'm an expert when it comes to technology, but I try. I give it a whirl, and but the good thing is I understand who on my team can do it, and if I have any help or if I need any help, I know who I can ask for sure. And plus, I have my daughters. There's still some of them are at home, so I can always go to them too.
Yeah. Even though it's not what everybody wants, it's good to have those tools available to be able to kind of keep the team together, at least have some sort of communication, see each other's faces, right?
Yeah, we meet on Sundays as a team. I do it more like a wellness check for everybody and give them an avenue if they need anything. Gives me a chance to put out items that they should be thinking about working on in preparations for coming back. So I try to give them as much information I have, and they try to give me as much information they can, with whatever they need.
Yeah. Bill, we've talked a lot about on the show, about our little inspirational quote book that we're going to make from Seahawk Talk. A lot of those quotes have come from you. And you're a motivator. You like to inspire, motivate your team. But who inspired and motivated you when you were young, when you were playing?
To be honest with you, it was my parents, really. And I'm not just saying that. They are two very hard workers. My dad was a service man as well in the Navy, so I know the work ethic he did. So I kind of emulate that as best I can. He was a key even coach when he was on shore duty, so kind of inspired me to do the same thing and be there for my kids with whatever activities they are and to support them as best as possible. So, I had a great foundation with family. And then I try to carry it on with my own family and now with my grandkids and things like that. So, but it's interesting because now I have a family history of coaching. My brother's coach, my son now coaches down in Texas. My daughter is, KK is an assistant coach for me here. So, it's what we do. It's what we like to do.
Yeah. I was going to ask you the follow-up was going to be, and what about now? Who inspires you and what inspires or motivates you now? Actually,
it's just watching just the resiliency of all the kids going through some of the stuff. It's interesting to watch. My wife as a teacher, Watching her go through what she needs to go through to keep the kids occupied and keep them motivated and keep them moving in their own grade. She's a middle school teacher here locally. And then watching, my kids go through their process, with work and their activities and that sort of thing, and watching them, kind of raise my grandkids. So that's fun to watch, and just being around active people. It's pretty interesting out there what's happening. But like I said before, I don't really see it as a roadblock. I want to use it to try to, how can I advance myself even better? So that's what I kind of do.
How many parallels have you been able to draw between, say, your time serving in the Navy and in coaching? I know there's a lot of analogies you can draw in things,
Yeah.
but for you, how many parallels have you been able to draw and experiences
Quite,
being on for both?
it's quite a few, actually. I had 23 years of great service to the military and to the country. So, and I've been through a gamut of experiences, dealing with other countries, dealing with certain war type situations, just other activities, and just being able to bounce from one thing to another very quickly, trying to use those experiences and try to how can we do that better here at Salve.
Yeah. And I imagine you've been able to apply those too. You started off as a coach. Now you're also an administrator,
Right.
and I know first day you got the keys and said, all right, I want to walk around and go see behind every door. I want to know every nook and cranny. Rogers
That's
Rec
what I
is
was
kind of
doing
your
today.
ship. It's like your ship, right? Is Rogers Recreation Center your new
To
ship?
be honest with you, that's exactly how I look at it. I've had command before, so it's interesting. I've had, thousands of people working, and I treat it more like this building and this department as a ship, and each coach is like a department of that ship. So that's how I kind of relate to it. I'm always here and available for them. I kind of want to set the tone, so to speak, but I also need to adjust my own schedule so that I can keep myself as safe as possible as well. And trying to corral my eagerness to try to advance, I also have to watch out for myself. So even though that's very hard for me to stay away from the building because I really can't, but I am trying the best I can.
The only thing the ship doesn't have is its own mess hall at the moment. We have to go off ship for that.
Right. I'd rather do that at home anyway. So I'm good to go there.
Kind of along the lines of the seasons and Christmas and stuff. Do you have any like holiday traditions? I feel like you might be a guy that wants to go out and cut down his own tree.
Which I did. It's funny you mentioned that because a couple weekends ago, or actually last weekend, we did. So I went out to a local farm here, and we cut down our own tree, brought it in, only decorated it slightly, only so that the rest, when the kids end up, they're ready to go for decorating, then boom, they can do that. I have 3 of the 4 coming home. My oldest son and my daughter-in-law and grandsons, they live in Texas, so they're staying there, which is good. They're staying there because God help me, I wouldn't want them to travel and then come down with anything. But that's kind of, kind of a letdown in a way, just because, I'd love to see my grandkids and my son and his wife and go in there. But, my daughter, KK, she's actually driving up with her fiance coming up here later this week. But she's getting tested first for sure, because I wouldn't let her in the house until she proves that she's negative.
Yep.
And then so that'll be fun just to see her again. But we're all going to stay a little bit distant for a little bit until we understand what's going on. And then Maddie is going to be at the hospital, so she's going to be in and out for sure. And then my daughter Caroline is here at home until February, until she goes back to college. She's a senior last semester, so light is at the end of the tunnel. So I can't wait for that big payday coming then.
Bill, last question I want to ask you. We've talked about how you've tried to be staying active, going out, doing the hiking thing. I hung, in honor of the blizzard coming, I hung my snowshoes
I see that.
on the door behind me.
I
Have you
see
ever
that.
gone snowshoeing? Have you ever had to use snowshoes?
Never have, but it looks fun. I'd like to try it. That's for sure.
Need about, well, I mean, I guess you could go snowshoeing in a foot of snow, but it's awesome when you have 12 feet of snow to go snowshoeing. A couple of years ago, we had one of those, snowmageddon days,
Right.
and where I am, the water and the wind just whip right across the road and blow all the snow off a field right up against my apartment. Well, I'm on the third floor. I was able to snowshoe right out the door.
Wow.
And
Wow.
walk down the snowbank
Only in New
out of
England.
the third floor.
Only in
So
New
if that
England.
happens tomorrow, or I guess Wednesday night, Thursday, if we get significant snow drift, maybe that's how I'll do the show. Is I'll give everybody a live look snowshoeing out of the building.
Hey,
So-
no, that's good. We need that training opportunity. So go ahead and film yourself.
Awesome. Hey, Bill, always great to talk with you. Glad you're doing well,
Thanks.
and we'll catch up with you one more time before Christmas.
All right. Thanks for everything. Happy holidays. I'll see you.
All right, that's Bill Villarreal, the head coach of our women's lacrosse team. We're going to take a very short break and be back with some members of our track and field team. Don't go anywhere.
So you want to be a Seahawk? Let's make sure you wash your hands, keep your distance, wear your mask, and love your Seahawks.
Sammy, no mask?
Come on, Sammy. I know it's pumpkin spice season, but you can't bring drinks to class.
We have simple rules here, Sammy. Get out. Come back when you can follow them.
You got to take care of yourself and others, even if you are Sammy the Seahawk.
Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. We're going to bring in some freshman members of our women's track and field team, Sophia Dukakis and Olivia McHugh. Ladies, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, I'm well. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good. I want to start with asking you, each of you, and we'll start with Sophia, and then Olivia, you can go. Why did each of you choose Salve Regina?
A lot of reasons. I've always been going to Rhode Island like pretty much my whole life. My mom is from Rhode Island, and I have a lot of family there. And I knew that that's where I wanted to be, so that was a big part of that. And also, so Salve, as they just have a very tight community feel, and that's what I was looking for in a school. I didn't really apply to any large schools. I applied to smaller and medium schools, and that's what really attracted me to Salve.
I'm a nursing major, so for me, the nursing program was a really big draw because Salve is so serious about it, and they have such a large community around it, and I know that a lot of the professors take it a lot more seriously compared to other schools that I was looking at. So for me, that was the really big draw once I saw the nursing program.
Obviously, this is not the first semester experience probably either of you had planned on. Olivia, also a nursing major. We'll start with you. How much more pride, not anxiety in a bad way, but trepidation, like, wow, I'm in nursing. This is going to be something that's going to be in high demand. Obviously, the light's been shown on nursing for years to come, obviously. How does that feel, how this first semester has gone and knowing the importance of what you're studying?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different taking in that consideration with my major, especially like even before we started, like in spring when I was like finalizing that I was going, it was still like a big like understanding for me to be like, this is what I'm going to be able to do, like what I'm seeing in the news. And then even like all my professors, like being able to make like real world connections, saying like the people on the front lines are doing what you're learning to do right now. It's like a really nice kind of draw to have.
Yeah. Sophia, how do you feel, this first semester has gone, winding everything down, but the adjustment to being a college athlete and a student amidst a pandemic?
It's been pretty interesting. So my major is I'm doing the clinical laboratory science and medical technology program. And so far that's been kind of interesting with just like the high demand of the classes and everything that we're doing. And even though our season was cut short, there was still everything with preseason, how we had, at least for the events that I was doing, because I'm a thrower for the team, I had to work out at least like 4 times a week. So it was never really that I wasn't doing a sport. So I was always occupied with track, even though the season was cut short. And I didn't really have a hard time balancing it. I think a big part of track is that it allows me to better manage my time. So I didn't really have any difficulty like balancing that in school.
You mentioned as well about that family dynamic and aspect of what the social nature of salary that drew you to it. For both of you, how have you guys been able to work and building that camaraderie and chemistry with your team? Obviously, the potting thing, groups are separated. How do you feel you've kind of assimilated yourself into the family of the women's track and field team?
It's a little difficult just given everything because we haven't been able to meet as like an entire team with everyone. It's really only been in like groups divided by your events, so like sprinting, throwing, distance, and everything. But I've been able to work with a lot of the sprinters, and we were only able to work for a short amount of time before everything was canceled. But it's definitely it's kind of an odd transition going from high school to college track with the amount of members. But I think it's really nice in the way that we were able to practice, but everyone is connected through track. And I think that was just one thing we were able to immediately bond over and connect, even with the weird situation that we're in.
Yeah, so similarly to like what Liv said, even though we didn't really have that many days to practice, I did happen to make some very close friends, which I wouldn't have met unless we were doing track. And I've become very close with them. I still talk to them sometimes. And even though we weren't able to have the full season like we would have liked, I think that through our events, and even though we didn't really have that many days of practice, we were still able to cultivate those close relationships with our teammates because we were all bonded through track.
How will you guys both try and stay active during winter break, trying to take into consideration as well the restrictions that may be in place wherever you guys will be living during that time?
I've been continuing to run as much as I can and also lift. Like I don't have as much lifting equipment at home as I would at school in the athletic center, but I'm making do with what I have and still trying to stay active.
I've been using Volt, which is the app that we use for track for our workouts. So Coach Hurd does not need to worry. I've been keeping up with the Volt workouts.
How much are you guys looking forward to, hopefully, fingers crossed, having a competitive season in the spring? And you both kind of touched on it already, but elaborate on which events you guys participate in and drew you to participate in those events, to begin with.
I am very much looking forward to and hoping that we have a competitive season because I do enjoy practicing, but I feel like a big part of track is being able to compete and go to the meets. So I am very much looking forward to that.
For me personally, I'm a pole vaulter, so not having an outdoor season my senior year was really sad, especially because that's outdoors when you actually get to vault because the colder weather makes it a lot harder to bend the poles, and you really only get to practice at meets. So even last winter when we were competing, there wasn't a lot I could do, and going into spring, we didn't even get to start outdoor before everything got canceled. So I'm really looking forward to the possibility of being able to vault again. And like for getting into the event, I was asked if I might have been interested my first day of track freshman year. And then I just never stopped showing up to pole vault because I just thought it was the coolest thing ever, and I still do.
I've always felt that pole vaulting has got to be something where it's completely random. It's not like, you're 3 years old and your dad gives you, hey, you want to try pole vaulting today? I'll lift you over the hedges. Like, it's something completely just by chance that you get into it.
Yeah, you have to be a little crazy to do it too. Absolutely.
Olivia, you had this question that you would have asked yourself. You put in our form. Sophia, if you want to answer as well, you can. You're at a dinner and can invite any 3 people in the world, living or dead. Who would they be?
See, I asked that with the hopes I wouldn't be asked.
You can't do that to you. You should.
I know. Well, definitely Harry Styles is the first person at the table. I think he would be very entertaining, great host. Second, I would probably invite Kate McKinnon because I think she's hilarious and she would be very good entertainment as well. And then third, I would probably invite John Mulaney, top it off, have all comedians. I would be giggling the whole night. It would be great.
I say you wouldn't be able to eat because you need to breathe
No.
between laughing. That would be fun. Sophia, do you want to answer or would you rather plead the fifth?
I can try answering. I don't know. Probably my favorite comedian is Maya Rudolph, so definitely her. My favorite writer is Virginia Woolf, so her. And I'm not too sure about the third one.
Coach Hurd.
Coach Hurd, definitely. Definitely Coach Hurd. That's a good one.
My last question for you guys. We've asked it of everyone here today. With the holidays coming up, do you guys have a favorite Christmas movie?
Not really. Like, I watch like a good amount of Christmas movies, but I feel like there's not like one specifically that I always like enjoy watching. There's just like, I feel like just like watching Christmas movies is just something that I do, you know?
Yeah.
Mine is Home Alone, hands down.
Oh, that's another good one as well.
Mhm.
There's people out there that don't think they wouldn't consider it a Christmas movie. And I'm like, it's got everything you want in a Christmas movie. It's got like it's Christmas in every single scene. There's decorations and Christmas things. You have like the heartwarming family moments at the end. Granted, it's about a kid who's home basically torturing invaders, but it's about as Christmas as it comes. So
It really is.
I agree. Home Alone, that may also be on my top 5 list. So now I guess I've kind of already given away 2. So I'll have to keep the other 3 a secret for next week. Ladies, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here today. Great to talk with you. Hope you guys have a happy and safe holiday. And fingers crossed we see you guys out there at the track this spring.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take
Have a nice.
That's Sophia Dukakis and Olivia McHugh from our women's track and field team. We're going to take a short break and be right back with our producers to wrap up today's show. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. Want to bring in the producers now, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, to help close out today's program. Fellas, first, I like to always get your thoughts on anything that our guests had to say here today.
I could quickly defend 2 shows that I felt were criticized during this period, Elf and Anchorman. I believe a question referenced by Ed Habershaw was Anchorman or Elf? Which one would you rather be forced to watch? I will voluntarily watch both and laugh hysterically. So I don't know about you guys, but
forced to watch. I mean, we already talked about Clockwork Orange. Is this meaning like Clockwork Orange, like we're sitting in the chair, like eyes peeled open, half forced to watch?
Yeah, I think the connotation he was going for was that they're both bad movies, but I enjoyed them both. So
it's one of those. It's like Chinese water torture, right? Like it's not one drop of water isn't bad, but one drop of water every second for a day. You start to go crazy, right? So, which of those movies would be more torturous to watch again and again and again and again and again and again and again?
I would say Elf.
I'd say Anchorman. I'd say Anchorman. I think I could take at least Elf's got like the holiday spirity kind of vibe to it. So at least you're gonna feel a little uplifted. Maybe it's a Santa Claus in it. So I could deal with that, being forced to watch Elf over and over again.
All right, I can see it.
Joey, do you have any thoughts on this?
Oh man, I had one and immediately. Oh no, okay. No, I got it back. When Kelsey said, you asked Kelsey about like, do you still feel like a former player, or do you feel like a coach now? Like, which do you feel more like? And I never kind of thought of that, but I like that as like a distinction kind of thing. Like, you're never not gonna be a former player anymore, but at what point do you start like? When does it really set in for them that they're coaches? And I know we've asked a bunch of. I think it was softball. I want to. Did we have the softball assistant coaches on? Like, we had two of them together. I don't remember what sport it was.
Oh, we had our soccer assistant coaches on.
Was it that?
A lot of the recent grads get that same kind of question.
Yeah, and they
the whole
they
thing
all,
about
like,
is it a way to feel in our basketball? Liv Pierce, that same question, like, you just graduated 2 years ago. Do you still feel like, oh, I just want to be out there on the court?
Yeah.
Or do you feel more like, hey, I'm the coach now? So
cool.
It's a popular question, and I know a lot of the reasons people get into coaching is because they still have that fire in them.
Yeah, of course.
And since they can't run out on the court anymore and do it, you just try and get other people to do it as best you can.
Yeah.
What else do you guys? Oh, Ed wants to give us his top 5 Christmas movies. So his top 5 are Christmas Story, Elf, It's a Wonderful Life, classic, Christmas Chronicle, and any Christmas movie on Hallmark Channel. So just blanket waiver, blanket. Number 5 there.
Broad category.
Every Hallmark Channel movie. So if they do show Die Hard on the Hallmark Channel, that will fall into your top 5. Lethal Weapon, yes. Batman Returns, if it's on Hallmark at any point in time, it will fall into Ed's top 5. So wanted to get that in there. Do we have any other stories or notes to round out today's program?
Yeah, I'll mention quickly. So I don't know if they do it every single year, but I think it's pretty much most years that the Salve will do a what's called the Willow, their literary magazine. So they'll pretty much take stories from students that were written here at Salve. And then, so actually some of them, me and Joey were in one of the classes, so maybe we'll see one of our pieces in there potentially, but they'll take stories from students. Yeah, they'll take.
I need those extra points now.
Exactly. Yeah, you got it. So you can be published. Yeah, students can become published in this. Here's some pictures of the people. And honestly, so some of these people are in my class. I know they're great. So I'm really excited to see what's to come for this new edition. So yeah, it should be interesting. I don't know the exact date that will be released, but typically I think, is it around like winter break, Joey?
Oh geez, I used to know it. I think it's like around Christmas. I'm trying to remember. I used to know, but I don't.
Can we keep scrolling?
Now.
I want to see more of that picture. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, see that one. Yeah, see, isn't this cool?
Yeah,
that's very cool.
Awesome.
I think they had another one, but yeah, no, like very, very cool stuff. And I know it's a lot of people's first time being published, so it's a great place to kind of, if you haven't, if you go to school here and you haven't, if you're interested in writing, this is a good place to start. So, if you have any stories, submit them.
And they really don't I don't think they reject, unless it's like inappropriate. I don't think they reject stories. And no. I don't know if they've always done, but I know like Isabel and Emily, who are the editors in chief right now, they're really good about giving feedback, I've heard, and like helping you polish it. So like if you're not happy with it, they can help you. So like if you have something that you want to write, but you don't love it, you can go to Willow and they'll help you. Especially because they're also tutors at the writing center, so they know how to help you the correct Salve approved way.
Oh yeah, no, very, very good editors. You can tell from their presentations we actually listened to today. They're very thorough. Yeah, so definitely we can vouch.
Cool, awesome. Joey, did you have any notes to close out today's program?
I will real quick. Sports movies that were on the National Registry: Raging Bulls, Rocky, League of Their Own, Hoosiers, and Field of Dreams. Those are all on there.
Those are all
good ones.
I will get to my story that I had earlier. Was I don't know if this is the same thing that we talked about. Where to go? Why can't I not? There it is. That Mike talked about the other day about the toy drive thing. But there was a Tiverton toy drive. They called it Operation Blue Santa. I don't know if this is a similar thing or what it was, but I don't know what Tom's Market is. It's a store in Tiverton, I assume, probably a supermarket. And they had a toy drive, and they said over 100 people turned up, and they got a ton of toys. I can't remember if it says in here how many, oh yeah, they're doing it again Friday and Saturday. And where is it? Yeah, I don't. Maybe it doesn't say. But yeah, no, a ton of people showed up and donated toys and stuff for kids. They say down here they're doing a Santa for Seniors thing, which I think is really cute. They're doing gift baskets with slippers, crossword puzzle books. Like, I love that. That's so nice. And it's the police department and some other groups working together to coordinate these. And again, if you can give to any of the toy or anything, holiday donation things. I know we have the Angel Tree, right? That's what's called. The thing at Salve. I can't think of the name right now. Where you can find stuff to donate, and it's always for a good cause. And so
cool.
It's
awesome.
a good cause.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Again,
and I think
having the good news to end on, always a pause, always
that's
good.
it.
Yeah. There's not much different I can say. It's a good cause. Like, don't donate. Like, not much else I can say. Like, I don't need to explain why.
Yeah, it's toys for kids. There's nothing more pure than that.
There's no like, that's it. That's the sentence.
No strings attached.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fellas, great work here today, as always, and I look forward to talking with you guys tomorrow on the show.
All right, see you tomorrow.
All right, that's Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, the producers here on Seahawk Talk. We are live every day, 3 to 4 p.m. on the Salve Athletics Network. You can follow, and subscribe to us through Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and you'll get our Periscope stream through there. Make sure you subscribe to never miss a show. You can go back and watch any past episode of the show, and if you don't want to watch the video and you want to take Seahawk Talk on the go, you can subscribe to the Seahawk Talk podcast through Sounder FM or wherever you get your podcast from. Just search for Seahawk Talk, and it should pop right up. I want to thank our guests here today. We had a packed show. Big thanks to Nick Albanese, Kelsey Borman, Bill Villarreal, Sophia Dukakis, and Olivia McHugh for joining us here on the program. We'll have a great show for you tomorrow as well as we head towards the holiday weekend. So thanks for tuning in, folks. I'm Andrew Pizzelli. We'll talk to you all tomorrow. Have a good evening.